Hello, my lovely E.I.T family. I hope y'all day's going awesome. If you know me, then you know where I'm going, because this is the only time I do these videos. But I hope everybody had an amazing holiday break. I hope everybody had a chance to do something important during this holiday, not just eat turkey, eat ham, and stuff yourself until you're comatose. I hope y'all did something important with this time, because y'all already know how I feel about holidays. But I'm here to trigger you a little bit. Did you know you're toxic? You. Oh yeah, you. You're toxic. You have toxic habits and toxic ways that make it almost impossible for you to carry on throughout life without bringing certain types of issues to yourself. Now, hear me out before you think that I'm just calling everybody problematic and the issue in their relationships and no. What I'm saying is that we all have toxic habits, whether we recognize it or not. Perfect example. I heard somebody say the other day that their toxic habit was, I forgive too much. I'm too forgiving. I just keep giving people second chances. And I'm only doing this voice because I know for a fact that when this person said it, they didn't even realize what their true toxic behavior was. But they said it because they realized that that brings issues to them, but they feel like to a certain degree that they're innocent. They just are too loving and they're too giving and they're too whatever. The reality for my lovely over-forgiving people, which I fell into that category for a very long time. The reality is, it's not that your forgiveness is toxic. You want to change people. That's toxic. You want people to be how you want them to be. So you feel that if you show them a certain amount of love and attention, and you just keep on forgiving, that at some point their behaviors will change. At some point, if you keep coming back and you keep drilling in the same things that you've been drilling in the first 15 times when you forgave them, that at some point they'll give into your hard will and they'll change. Trying to change people, that is toxic. Because that means that at some point in time you recognize that this person was not either good for you, good to be around you, or wasn't good for your spirit, but you felt that you are the almighty and the all-powerful, that you can now just walk up in there and be like, I don't really like this layout, so I'm gonna change it up a little bit. And every time you start moving around furniture, they put it back. You move something else, they put it back. Why? Because we can't change people. We can't. Only them. They can change themselves. Now, you can be with somebody and they see a certain, as they say, je ne sais quoi in you, and they feel it necessary to change within themselves. But that's initiated by them. Not because you just kept on forgiving. Not because you were just so steadfast. It was initiated by them because at some point in them, they realize that they want to do better. They might see you and say, you know what? This girl's really putting herself on the line for me, or whatever it is, and I haven't interacted with somebody or encountered somebody like that before. Maybe I should do something about it. That has to come from them. That don't come from you. That's not because you're just oh so forgiving. No. That's because they had a moment within themselves where they told themselves that they gotta do better. Now, some of y'all might be thinking, well, ain't that the same thing? If you stick around and you do this and you do that, then eventually they'll change. No. Because some people have toxic behaviors and they rear themselves in relationships because they have trauma themselves that they have yet to tap into. They have issues themselves that they have been shying away from and suppressing, and now it's manifesting in their behaviors. And because it's finally showcasing their behaviors, and they see that there's somebody who sees past their behaviors. Now they might decide to question themselves, and that's a beautiful thing. That is a beautiful thing, and I'm grateful for whoever decided to stick around long enough to have or help them have that realization. Although it's not something I necessarily recommend, because that also does its own damage, but that's a whole conversation within itself. But nonetheless, those are the moments where you see people might change due to seeing something that they feel can trigger them. Cool. But all in all, this whole I forgive too much. No. You are stubborn. And you want to see somebody change to the person you want them to change into, so you keep on coming back. Then you have other people who say, oh, well, my toxic behavior is I just let people walk all over me. Letting people walk all over you is bad enough, but it's not actually the toxic behavior. The toxic behavior is you seeing yourself as worthless. That's where the toxic behavior comes in. Your self-talk and your self-worth is low. And if you don't see worth in yourself, then you don't expect other people to see worth in you. Hence why you allow them to treat you how they treat you, because in your mind it makes sense. In your mind, if I see myself as a rug, then when people walk all over me, makes sense, right? We have to start to recognize our own toxicity, our own toxic behaviors, because our toxic behaviors is what allows other people's toxic behaviors into our lives. Toxicity in a relationship doesn't start with them, it starts with you. I've said this before, but I didn't really dive into it because I know people are touchy. It's the truth. And I put up a post the other day. There's a lot of women who buried, mourned, and have RIPs all over their spirit because their headstones read, I can change him. I'm going to let that sit with y'all spirits for a little. No, I really mean it. I'm going to let that sit with y'all spirits. I want y'all to feel that. It's not our jobs to change people. But again, a whole topic within ourselves that we need to dive into, but that's not what this is. Our toxic behaviors make it hard at times to recognize where the toxic loop begins. So first things first, understand yourself. Recognize where you fall short. And because you fall short doesn't mean that you're less of a person. It doesn't mean that your value has now dropped. You're not a car. You drive off the lot and now you just immediately start to depreciate. No, that's not how this works. Your life experience is what gives you your worth. Because it means you survived something. That means you've grown. It means wisdom has been imparted in your life somewhere. So take this right here and use this as a moment to become better. Become better you. Become a better person. Become a better mother. Become a better wife. Become a better sister. Become a better friend. Because I have toxic ways that I need to get rid of. I do. I'm a terrible communicator. I had people in my life that I call my best friends, but ask me when the last time I called them, or even texted them for that matter. Why? Because I have abandonment issues. I do, and I have to acknowledge that. I have to be okay with that, not because I wanted to stay, but because for things to change, you have to be okay with knowing that they're there, and you have to approach it with love within yourself. I know these things about myself. I'm afraid that people are going to just up and walk out my life because important people when I was younger did exactly that. It's a real thing. And I need to work on it. I need to fix that. But it's not immediate and it's hard. But that's my journey. And I'm not afraid to share my journey with y'all because it's real. So again, I love y'all. We in this together. And remember, we got each other.